I'm the Talking Skull, and this year I'm playing classic first-person shooters to draw a line from Wolfenstein 3D to Halo. The year is 1998, and the old guard of id, Bungie, and 3D Realms are either gone or metamorphosing. This year will see the biggest ever influx of new talent in the FPS scene, and it starts with a little game called Unreal. You awaken in a prison bunk. Alarms blare. The charred bodies of your cellmates litter the floor. Their blood stains the walls. You're hurt, but you can still walk. The first thing you pick up is a translator, a device to let you read the logs and journals of the ship's crew and cargo. Stumbling through the wreckage, you nurse yourself back to health and learn the cause of your disaster. A mysterious planet that reeled in and crushed your captor's ship. At long last, you step out from your metal pillbox and into the wide, calm plains of a new world. Unreal takes steps forward in narrative tools on every front. Quake had text pop-ups tied to checkpoints. Unreal's got text pop-ups that can be tied to any spot on the map, turning them from the word of God into in-fiction text. Other games had NPCs wandering around that don't have to be killed. Unreal has NPCs praying, beckoning, opening doors, and showing you secrets if you save them, engaging with you in a way that I didn't think I'd see before Half-Life. Epic commit hard to environmental storytelling from the very first room, consistently seeking ways to craft the world into a readable scene or an emotional beat. The actual plot here pales in comparison to Marathon, but almost every room serves some purpose, and set pieces abound. Previously, GoldenEye was the gold standard for this kind of design, but Unreal pushes it so much further. This temple feels like everything that Bungie wished the temple in Marathon 2 could have been. Stepping off the caved-in prison ship and onto the peaceful alien meadow is essentially the start to Metroid Prime, 4 years before Metroid Prime. And, like Metroid, Unreal prioritizes exploration, tightrope walking between the linear action of Quake 1 and the broader navigation of Quake 2. Unreal stages with a direct point A to point B path tend to be wide open and loaded with side content. I'm pretty sure this entire level is optional. You can walk right by this village and just move on to the next map. But mixed between these free and breezy stages are puzzle boxes that ask you to engage with the environment, interpret the purpose of mystical altars and spaceship machinery, and use that understanding to deduce the way forward. And boy, are these places worth taking in. Epic had the best engine on the market, and pushed that tech to its limit to present a visual feast. Unreal pioneered new technologies on every aesthetic front, smoking the still primitive 3D tech of even Quake 2. All this revolutionary technology underpins a world inspired less by Doom's Hell Dimensions or Duke Nukem's apocalyptic LA, and more by the surreal landscapes of Myst and Riven. Hey, is that where all those environmental puzzles come from? It's filled with interesting creatures and topped off with an adaptive soundtrack full of airy electronica. How far am I into this video? Oh no, I haven't even mentioned the combat yet. I love these weapons. Even if id missed the memo, alternate fire is here to stay, and Unreal has the most robust alternate fires yet. These weapons feel powerful, and they're totally original. All of the best arsenals have gotten creative at some point. Duke Nukem's Shrink Ray, Blood's Voodoo Doll, Shadow Warrior's Demon Head. But even those games use creativity as a way to spice up an otherwise standard set of guns. These stock weapons act as a baseline for every FPS, with anything creative added on top of that. Epic snatches that playbook off the table, rips it in half, and throws it straight into the garbage. Every single gun in Unreal is completely unique. First, you find this alien blaster. It looks crazy, and it's got a completely original mechanic. It recharges. Instead of your normal starting melee or pistol with unlimited ammo that's totally useless, Unreal gives you a weapon that can run out of ammo during a fight, but will always have more later. This clever solution allows the starting attack to be slightly less useless. On top of that, collectible power-ups for this blaster permanently buff it, keeping it relevant even as you accrue bigger and deadlier options. And that's just the first weapon. Unreal introduces the Razorjack with its decapitations, the bio rifle, and the flak cannon. I didn't play the original Unreal growing up, but I did play Unreal Tournament in UT 2004 obsessively, and the flak cannon has always been my favorite video game gun. Even the pistol, which is just a basic pistol, does this. This is a usefully different fire mode. That's not to even mention the railgun, which has this pathetic alternate fire. Seems whack, right? Well, if you follow up by shooting the orb, you get this. And the rocket launcher has not one, but 4 fire methods, since either its primary fire or its bouncer grenade alternate can be held down to load multiple rounds into a single spread shot. Unreal's weapons put all competitors to shame. Nothing even comes close. Not Doom, not Blood, not Quake 2. If the weapons don't impress you, the enemies surely will. Unreal obsessively commits to projectiles to an even greater extent than id. But what sets Unreal's enemies apart is their AI. Enemies in all previous shooters were dead stupid. Most just stood in place or aimlessly meandered their designated zones, and the really ambitious ones would move toward or away from the player, but never both. Unreal's Scourge makes those AI look like grade school projects. The Scourge alternate between aggressive and passive behavior, pushing in for melee punishes if you let them get close, but hanging back to juke and spam if you keep your distance. They have a dodge roll, which frankly, they're a little too quick with. Best of all, they adaptively play around cover, finding little nooks to pop behind for a reprieve while they continue to apply pressure. It's still not like playing against a human opponent, but the Scourge offer by far the most compelling duels in any single-player campaign to date. After battling through legions of Scourge warriors, it'd be hard to go back to the dunces of Quake 2 or Duke Nukem. That excellent AI was possible in part because Epic hired Steve Polge, creator of the first ever Deathmatch bots with the Reaper bot mod for Quake. Thanks to Steve's work, Unreal became the first game to include official Deathmatch bots, and they're pretty competent. Now, I'm no Thresh, but they kept up with me well enough to be fun without even cranking their difficulty up. With or without bots, Unreal's deathmatches go blow for blow with Quake's, and largely come out on top. New guns like the sniper rifle and the flak cannon challenged the rocket launcher's spot as top dog, making Unreal's deathmatches much more diverse. While Quake's rocket frenzies were definitely fun, Unreal puts you in more diverse and distinct situations, with varied weapon matchups with different strengths and weaknesses across different maps, along with multiple firing modes prompting more moment-to-moment decision-making. Unreal was an FPS masterpiece. It pushed every aspect of FPS design in new directions, with more polish and fewer hiccups than any game before it. Its engine far exceeded Carmack's growing Quake engine, which itself had no real competition before now. And perhaps best of all, Epic took that engine and put it in the hands of aspiring developers everywhere. Epic's engine designer, Tim Sweeney, considered developer tools just as important as core engine functionality. Where other teams worked from files to develop their levels piecemeal and rendered it all out afterwards to test, Sweeney devoted valuable engineering time to creating robust editing tools that allowed his coworkers to more easily work within the engine, placing, editing, and testing the game in real time all at once. If you've ever toyed around with Bethesda's Elder Scrolls construction kit, or indeed Epic's own modern Unreal engines, you've seen how much power these kinds of tools give to designers. Everything from designing layouts to scripting events to testing and iterating were easier in Unreal than they had ever been for any previous 3D game. And Epic did not hoard these tools. Unreal released with both the in-engine editor and scripting software, putting their hard work in the hands of modders the world over. Additionally, professional developers lined up to license the awe-inspiring Unreal Engine and its developer-friendly tools for their own projects, including John Romero's Ion Storm, who are hard at work at their upcoming game. But not that one. Unreal broke new ground with its weapon design, level layouts, engine, AI, and development tools, and the total package is fantastic. It's not perfect. This dodge mechanic is an awesome idea, but it's too easy to accidentally trigger, and the focus on exploration and environmental puzzles means it's not as punchy as Quake 1. But nitpicks like those can't tarnish the shine on this gem. Unreal foreshadows Half-Life with its active, friendly AI and its sane platforming. In a lot of ways, it even feels more like Halo than Marathon did, with its alien weapons and wide-open landscapes. If you want to play it today, well, be glad I did the hard work for you. I have cut 481 words from my original script for this video outlining the Sisyphean pains I endured to get Unreal Gold working properly. Rather than explain it all, let me just say that it's unconscionable the state that these classic games have been left in. So here's what you need to do. Get a copy of the game, download and install FanPatch 227, set the color mode to 32-bit, set the resolution to your liking, increase the font size to double and the translator size to triple, and if you don't want mouse acceleration, then disable mouse smoothing and enable raw HD input. Oh yeah, and be sure to uncheck invert mouse if it's checked. Finally, rebind all of your controls. After you've done all that, you're ready to play one of the best shooters ever made. Unreal was wildly successful. Declared by some reviewers the best FPS of all time on its release in May, it seemed like a shoo-in for the Academy of Interactive Arts and Sciences Action Game of the Year. Of course, they couldn't know what other groundbreaking titles were coming around the bend to steal that prize. If this old stuff is interesting to you, check out the rest of my series on first-person shooters to see what I had to say about Quake and more. And if there's anything you think I should cover, leave a comment so I can see. Next week, an unexpected twist brings us from the pinnacle of movement shooters to the first full-blown tactical shooter.